What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new show, guys, so let's get into it. Today, guys, I'm introducing a new show to the YouTube channel. Welcome, everyone, to the Quantum Cast, guys, the best quantum air podcast here on YouTube. And I'm super excited about our episode here today. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get into it. So as I said, guys, welcome to the Quantum Air podcast, also known as the Quantum Cast. And I'm really excited about this show, guys, because we've obviously brought back the Gears cast and now bringing the Quantum Cast to the fray. I'm incredibly excited about. This is one of those titles that I am incredibly excited about. As you guys know, one of my favorite horror games of all time is Dead Space, and Quantum Air is a title that seems to be within that same, echelon as far as a spiritual successor potential to Dead Space and games of that nature. The survival horror elements and things of that nature make me incredibly excited for Quantum Air. So what is the Quantum Cast, guys? Well, the Quantum Cast is going to be everything in the world of Quantum Air. We are going to be talking about Quantum Air on this show, guys, in its entirety, all new updates, things that are going to be coming out, gameplay, breaking down the story, the lore, everything about Quantum Air, because what it really comes down to, guys, this is a title that just from what we've seen so far for gameplay, story, things of that nature, get me incredibly excited for this, and I want to play my part in helping see this franchise, I should really say this title, become a long-withstanding franchise, because, guys, it's going to come down to all of us. For those of us who love a title like Quantum Air or, titles like this in the survival horror genre, it's up to us to really create content around it, to stream the game and to, build an audience so that we can see this, become a franchise as a whole. Because I'm sure that the developers over at Team Kill definitely want to see this become a long-withstanding franchise. And in order for that to happen, we've got to play our part, because like I said, what I've seen so far of this title, I'm incredibly excited about, and I can't wait to really dive into the lore, dive into the story, and everything that this game is going to encompass. It's something that I'm very excited about, and I'm sure a lot of you out there, if you're watching this, are really excited about it as well. So let's talk about it. So for those of you who are accustomed to my YouTube channel, you know that one of the big things for me when it comes to AAA and big AAA titles is having full packages. That being, having multiplayer, having a single player campaign, having co-op modes, multitude of different ways that you can connect with the franchise. After you're done playing that single player story, you come back over and over again. And obviously that's what the multiplayer and co-op modes are really for, to bring you back to the experience over and over again. Well, obviously, guys, we're going to be covering Quantum Air very closely moving forward, and obviously, one of my first questions to the developers was going to be, are you guys going to have multiplayer? Is it going to launch with multiplayer? Things of that nature. And so I went ahead and I tweeted out, guys, saying that I was super excited about what is in store. Will there be multiplayer? And obviously, I tweeted at the official Quantum Air Twitter page, as well as Noah Jones, who is the director and level designer for Team Kill Media. Well, that being said, Noah tweeted back to me saying, no, Quantum Air will be strictly a single player game. Quantum Air, the official Twitter account, also tweeted saying, stay tuned, things are going to get awesome soon. And yes, as Noah said, this is going to be strictly a story-driven single player game. Which, look, at the end of the day, Quantum Air, as it stands right now, it's not some huge AAA title. So obviously, guys, if this were a massive AAA title that was going to be coming out, I'd be a little bit disappointed that it wasn't going to have multiplayer modes, co-op modes, because obviously you want this to be something that people are going to come back to over and over again. Now, obviously, we don't know, what the ins and outs of what the, kind of what's going to be down the pipeline for Quantum Air, whether they're going to plan on adding things along the way, which is something I'm really excited about. And I'm hoping to definitely pick a lot of the developers' brains as time goes over at Team Kill Media. But what this tells us is that there's no multiplayer, and that is confirmed, obviously by Quantum Air as well as Noah Jones. And so, obviously, guys, this leads me to the next thing here. So, without a multiplayer, we have a single player story. And obviously, guys, from the gameplay, from all of those things, man, this looks so much like Dead Space. It reminds me of Dead Space. I think that Quantum Air and the folks over at Team Kill Media can probably learn from some of the peaks and the valleys from the Dead Space universe at this point in time, because it just reminds me so much of that. What I love so much and what is really, kind of drawn my attention to this game, guys, and this universe, that being Quantum Air, is the simple fact of the matter that not only can you play in first person mode, you can play in third person. There's multiple ways you can kind of dive into the story and the lore of what is Quantum Air. Now, obviously, guys, we don't know every in and out of this title. We know it's been funded. We know that, obviously, guys, this is not one of those titles that is, like I said, some massive AAA title. Hopefully at some point it's able to get to that point, but it really is going to start from the, obviously these very beginning foundational, points here from Team Kill Media. And I think that they're taking their time with this title, which I absolutely love. So let's talk about, now that there's no multiplayer, what can we expect? It being a single player story, what's going to draw us in over and over again? Well, who knows, guys? At the end of the day, it's going to be interesting to see, after you play that single player story one way, there's probably going to be a multitude of different ways that you can play it, and that's going to be something really awesome as well. I'm sure that there's thoughts maybe over at Team Kill Media, I can't speak for them, potential, DLC, which, some downloadable content. I would love to see, guys, Quantum Air go in a direction where maybe they have the single player story at first, and then eventually, depending on obviously the reception and things of that nature, they could add some other modes. Maybe not necessarily multiplayer, so to speak, but it'd be awesome to see them kind of do some things that Dead Space didn't do. Let's talk about like Horde mode from Gears of War, where you're going up against waves and waves of enemies. Those are things that I think could really bring you back to the experience over and over again, whether you're playing it by yourself, whether you're playing it with a couple of friends. I think those are things that, hey, could this be something that is, added later on into the game? I would absolutely love it. But really, guys, what this comes down to, Quantum Air being a perfect example of this, we as the community, as this game goes, they're listening to the community and listening to what the community is asking for. Now, obviously, guys, they're not going to, do everything that the community wants, but they're at least listening to what we're talking about. And so I think that that's really important, to have that, engagement between the developers as well as the fans of the title and those who were really excited about this title. So I think at the end of the day, guys, if you want something added into Quantum Air, those are things that you have to really voice your opinion. It's like that with any title out there, but especially one like Quantum Air, that is like the very beginning foundation of what we're hoping to be a franchise. How can we make this title better over time? How can we, make this a long withstanding franchise, which is really what I'm excited about. But I'd love to hear guys' thoughts about that in the comment section down below. Do you think multiplayer could be something that could be added later on to, Quantum Air? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Quantum Air content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. From what we've seen of Quantum Air, there's a lot of similarities, guys, to Dead Space. And there's a lot of, titles that are starting to come out that are kind of in that, spiritual successor of Dead Space. I mean, obviously with the Callisto Protocol coming out, Glenn Schofield is obviously, one of the creators of Dead Space. And so obviously that title from Striking Distance is one that looks like it's going to be for sure a spiritual successor to Dead Space. And then we have obviously the reboot, or I should say really that remake of Dead Space also that's going to be coming out. But what, with Quantum Air, why does this feel different to me than the upcoming Dead Space, the Callisto Protocol? It feels different, even though there are those similarities. I think, guys, that Quantum Air for sure is grounded in this concept, right? This cosmic horror FPS title, which is primarily what it is, an FPS, but it also you have that ability, obviously, from the game footage and things of that nature to go into third person, which I think, first of all, really makes this a little bit different than obviously what we've seen from Dead Space, a third person, horror survival shooter. And so obviously I think Quantum Air when we start talking about those similarities to Dead Space, when we look at from just a perspective of the environment itself, those closed in corridors, like it gets it's a very unnerving experience as you're walking through those corridors. It looks like in Quantum Air, similar to what you would have with Dead Space, just from a first person perspective, right? And so obviously Dead Space had its, very unnerving elements to it. But Quantum Air, definitely from the different types of enemies that are in this game, definitely feels a little bit similar to Dead Space, but just in a different way. There are some very unnerving elements and different enemies that I think we're in for a real treat with this title. You can tell that they have been carefully and meticulously put together, and you can obviously see with Team Kill Media what they're doing over there with Quantum Air. They're taking their time with this title. This isn't a title, guys. Obviously, it was announced, a number of years ago, but this is one that they're taking their time with, and I love this because a lot of developers out there, even like the smaller indie developers, they sometimes try to rush out their product, thinking that it's ready to go and things of that nature. And obviously it releases and it's not ready whatsoever. And, so I love this from Team Kill Media. My biggest, hope is that they just continue to take their time, release the game when it's ready. Obviously I'm sure they want to release it, in 2022, and they definitely have a plan in place to do that. Whether it's 2022, whether it's 2023, to me, what it really comes down to is obviously just making the game that is going to be, perfect in their minds, releasing it to the world when it's ready and seeing what everybody thinks of it, which I think at this point in juncture in time, us horror fans are incredibly excited about this title. I'm sure we're going to get more and more updates, and that's one thing that I love about Quantum Air as well, and the folks over at Team Kill, is that they're consistently giving us updates as to what's, what they're working on, what's coming out. They want to be very transparent with the community, and I love this. You don't see this from some of the other development companies out there. They are absolutely wanting to hear everyone's feedback about the title. So with that being said, I even think that when we talk about, just the sheer amount of, characters and things of that nature, as well as the sheer amount of enemies in this upcoming title, I think Captain Jacob Thomas, this character, even though we don't know a lot about him as of yet, I think that does he remind us a little bit of Isaac Clarke, from the Dead Space universe, kind of a quiet character at first, doesn't really say much, which obviously I'm just taking this from the gameplay we've seen, from what we've seen of the trailers, guys. Maybe is this guy going to be kind of like a similar type of personality where he doesn't talk a lot, he's pretty quiet to himself. He just goes in and is really trying to save as many people as he possibly can. As, doing so, finds this entity that is in there that obviously he has to deal with, essentially. And that's going to be something really interesting as you find out more and more about, what went wrong over at the Monad Quantum Research Facility. It'll be really interesting, obviously. So are there similarities to Dead Space? Absolutely, guys. There is, without question, a lot of similarities to Dead Space. I feel, though, that this title has some differences, though, as well. Even though we could say maybe this is, somewhat of a spiritual successor, at the same time, I feel like it's a game that stands on its own. It's not going to be completely like Dead Space. I think that it is going to have its own elements and own types of enemies and such. It's definitely nowhere even near a copy and paste of what they did over with Dead Space. Sure, maybe they took a couple of elements, but I think that Team Kill has carefully put this thing together to make it stand on its own, which is incredibly important. And I think they're going to absolutely crush it. But let me know, guys, from what you've seen of the gameplay, what you've seen of the trailers up to this point in time and juncture, do you think there's a lot of, similarities to Dead Space? Do you think there should be, similarities to other horror games out there? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Quantum Air content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. So with this first episode of the Quantum Cast, I wanted to go ahead, guys, and talk about the story here of Quantum Air. This is one that, guys, I am intrigued by, I'm very excited about. I've become very passionate actually about Quantum Error. I mean, this is a title, guys, that has risen very quickly to my most anticipated game of the future. And so that being said, we're going to be creating a lot of content around Quantum Error. And so I wanted to take, this segment and talk about the story breakdown. Let's kind of talk about what can we expect here from Quantum Error. We've seen, the trailers, we've seen game footage, things of that nature, and I'm sure we're going to be seeing more here in the very foreseeable future. But with that being said, guys, I'm going to be pulling this from the official Quantum Error website. So with that being said, when the Monad Quantum Research Facility 30 miles off the shore of California is attacked by an unknown entity, engulfing the complex in flames and putting it into a full containment lockdown, a distress call is sent for mutual aid to the Garboa Fire Department in San Francisco, California. Fire Chief Sturgis answers the call and sends you, Captain Jacob Thomas, your partner Shane Costa, and a crew by helicopter to the Monad facility. Your mission is simple: save as many lives from the burning complex as possible and get out. However, what starts as a rescue mission quickly plummets into darkness when you arrive and find that things are not as they appear. Quantum Error is a cosmic horror FPS in development by Team Kill Media. Guys, what I will tell you, that's obviously, I mean, you could really talk about, that you could break down that entire, paragraph or a few paragraphs there. Obviously, Captain Jacob Thomas, definitely, this is a character we don't know a whole lot about as of yet, which I'm very excited about learning more about his lore, as well as, Shane Costa, as well as the Fire Chief Sturgis. I think that's really going to be something interesting. And we're going to be finding out a lot about the Monad Quantum Research Facility without question, guys. That's going to be something really interesting. There's a number of things, though, that I'm taking from it. Obviously, as I'm taking notes in my mind of like what this story all is, I'm thinking at the top of my list what I want to learn about. I want to learn about our character, right? Captain Jacob Thomas. Who is this guy? Where's he from? How did he, join the Garboa Fire Department? All of those things are kind of number one. I want to learn about the Garboa Fire Department as well. And then once we kind of get into this, it'll be really interesting to see, are they just throwing us into this story, guys? Like, I mean, the very first, obviously the very first scenes are us going into to the Monad Quantum Research Facility. What is it going to look like? And that's what I'm really interested about. Are they going to give us flashbacks of the past for our character, Captain Jacob Thomas? Or are they just going to keep us immersed the whole time, similar to some of these other, horror survival titles that we've had in the past? It's going to be something really interesting, guys. And so obviously, the thing that really stood out to me, though, is at the very end, guys. Your mission is simple: save as many lives from the burning complex as possible and get out. However, what starts as a rescue mission quickly plummets into darkness when you arrive and find that things are not as they appear. Just lines like that are unnerving, guys. You're going to go in here, and I think you're not going to want to go in there, right? You're not going to want to go into this Monad Quantum Research Facility because obviously what lies on the other side, we know as players, we're going to know like on this other side is going to be something absolutely terrifying, and that's going to be interesting. Playing as Captain Jacob Thomas, what his, how his story kind of plays out and his narrative plays out as time goes into this whole thing. But I will tell you guys that, as I said from the beginning, this has quickly risen to one of my most anticipated games of the future. I'm incredibly excited about it. I'm going to do my part, guys, to continue creating content around this title. This is a title I'm really excited about. I want to break down all the news, everything that we know as it comes out. I think what we can expect, though, guys, from this title is we're going to learn some things, not only about, obviously, primarily we're going to be learning a lot about the Monad Quantum Research Facility, and we're going to be trying to kind of, more so than anything, we're going to try to save as many lives as possible. We're going to be learning, though, like, little bits and pieces about what happened. Are we going to find out everything that happened? Or are they going to leave us on a cliffhanger? Because there's a lot of talk, guys, that this is the beginning of a franchise, which it's up to us as the community to really voice this game into, a massive franchise, which is what we all want. We want to see this game become something huge. And So that's why us talking about it, getting real conversation going between us, between the developers over at Team Kill, which have done an absolutely incredible job keeping kind of in touch with us as the community, listening to a lot of the things that we're talking about and taking that feedback, which is absolutely incredible. Also, guys, on the Quantum Air website, I went over to the Team Kill merch. They got some really awesome merch. I'm definitely gonna have to pick up some of this from the Quantum Air store. Really excited, guys. This is a title that I'm getting excited about. And when I start getting excited about a title, I start getting the merchandise, start really trying to dive into that lore, the story, all of those things. And that's something that we're gonna be doing here on the YouTube channel. So if you guys are really excited, go over to Team Kill, to the Team Kill merch, as well as the Quantum Air website. Check out everything that's going on so far here, obviously with Quantum Air at this point. And if you guys are excited about Quantum Air and you want to listen to more news, stories, videos, and things of that nature, keep it right here with Zero TV. We talked earlier in the show about Quantum Air having no multiplayer. That's been confirmed by the folks over at Team Kill Media. And so I wanted to go ahead and talk in this segment of the show about the possibilities of maybe a multiplayer being added later on in the future, or could it be added, in future entries of this hopeful franchise? That being said, let's talk about it, guys. And I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about this in the comment section down below. This is a massive ordeal because I've always said this on the YouTube channel, that after you play a single player experience, a lot of times after you're done playing it 1 or 2 times, you move on to other games. So how do you stay engaged? How do you stay with a specific franchise? That being, obviously something that is not I usually would talk, we have to put an asterisk here around big AAA titles, obviously. So with the big AAA titles, if all you have a single player experience, not that people aren't going to, play it. People are going to try it out without question. But after you beat it a couple of times, are you going to move on to other games, or are they going to add things to the title to bring you back to the experience over and over again? So that being said, multiplayer. Multiplayer can be a multitude of different things, guys. Obviously, we can talk PvP, we can talk PvE, we can talk co-op, all these different ways that you can connect with the title. So could it be something that's added later on? Well, it's a big question, guys. Obviously, at this very juncture in time, Quantum Air, they're not planning on doing it, right? Obviously, they're focused right now, and they should be focused on just delivering the best experience for a single-player cosmic FPS title. So I'm excited about that, and that is something that I'm totally on board with, especially because this is not a massive AAA title of some massive franchise yet. Now, I think that this definitely could, if things are put into proper place, and then we as the community are creating content around it. We're, obviously trying to echo more of these games into existence and things of that nature. So could it be something that's added later on in like potential updates or in future entries of the title? I think it's absolutely possible. The way I look at it, guys, is let's just say, I talk about this all the time, but with horror games, I feel like Gears of War had the perfect they had a great structure to bringing people back to the experience over and over again. After you were done playing the single player story, you obviously had multiplayer modes where it was like PvP, and then there's like competitive and things of that nature. But then there's also on the flip side of that, you've got where it's PvE. You can play with your friends, whether it's in the campaign, whether we're talking from a multiplayer experience playing against other people across the world, or playing against waves and waves of enemies in what is called in Gears of War's world, Horde mode. And I feel that so many games don't take advantage of this, where obviously just a concept, it's a simple concept, going up against waves and waves of enemies as time goes, you're upgrading your weapons and things of that nature, working together as a team. I think there's a lot of ways that Gears of War actually could get better at it, and I think that there's ways like games like, say, Quantum Air, for example, could really capitalize on this, where the sheer terror of going up against waves and waves of enemies would be something pretty terrifying, especially if you're playing by yourself or even with friends. I think that a game like Dead Space, I feel like that's something that they could have done, capitalized on, and it could have been something absolutely incredible, where going up against waves and waves of necromorphs, and then the next wave would be a number of other different types of enemies, and, you know, as you go, you're fighting against bosses and things of that nature. Quantum Error is a title I feel could really take advantage of this, bringing you back to the experience, leveling up your character, leveling up your armor, and things of that nature. Dead Space had a great level up system in the single player story, but outside of that, they didn't have any other ways to connect with the title. And I'm not saying, guys, after you beat Quantum Error, you're not going to want to play it again. I'm saying that there's a good chance you will want to, and you're going to want to stay within that universe. I think that I'm saying that, could these things potentially be added to the experience over time? I definitely think they could. But I think, guys, it really comes down to us as the community voicing this to the developers over at Team Kill that, hey, we want this added at some point. I think what we really have to wait for is the single player experience. Once it comes out, we get our hands on it, we're playing, because in my mind, I want Team Kill to focus totally at this point on just that thing that they're doing, and they want to do it at a very high level, which is the single player experience. Once they knock that out of the park, and I have no doubt in my mind they're going to absolutely crush it, I would love to see at some point or another they start adding other things. Now, I'm sure that there is a timeline here of other things that they want to do along the course of this journey that we have Quantum Error, whether we're talking DLC, things of that nature. But is multiplayer somewhere down the pipeline, maybe in the back of their minds? Hey, if we crush the single player story, we can add other modes to this in future updates, things of that nature. I think it's something that could happen. If it's not, maybe we can get those conversations going, guys. I'd love to have like an open-ended conversation. What do you guys think? Do you think that we need to have other ways to connect with Quantum Error moving forward after the single player story, you know, once it releases? Do we need more ways to connect with it? I mean, we see a game, an example would be The Last of Us Part 2. Absolutely, they crushed the single player story. Absolutely awesome. But then, obviously, a lot of people have wanted and wondered, where's the multiplayer for The Last of Us Part 2? We still haven't gotten it. And sure, they did incredible numbers and things of that nature, but if they would have added, you know, multiplayer at some point or another, it would have brought a lot of people back to that experience over and over again. So it'll be something interesting, guys. Like I said, I'd love to have a real open-ended conversation about this with all of you in the comment section down below. I'm incredibly excited about Quantum Error, guys, and I'm sure many of you are excited as well. We need to make this game huge. Let's do it. Let me know what you guys think, though, in the comment section down below. For more Quantum Error content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. As excitement and speculation are ramping up for Quantum Error, guys, I want to go ahead and talk in this segment of the show about the potential possibility of a trilogy. A lot of people are talking about Quantum Error being the first of what is hoped to be a long-withstanding franchise. And that being said, guys, the Trilogy talks are one that the community are really talking about in a major way, and I'm really excited to talk about this as well. One of the things that was commonly talked about was a trilogy. Is this something that could very well possibly happen? Well, according to the team over at Team Kill Media, they stated that if that level of ambition for a 4-person studio isn't impressive enough, for those of you guys who don't know, Team Kill Media is a 4-person studio, which is absolutely incredible, and it's actually a family, guys, a family of brothers, which is an incredible story. The narratives around this are going to be absolutely incredible. That being said, though, Team Kill has already conceived Quantum Error as a franchise that extends well beyond the end credits of this first installment. This is the beginning of a 3-part series, it reveals, so the story will not see a conclusion until the end of Part 3, and the player will be heavily invested at the end of Part 1 and screaming for Part 2. We have Part 2 and 3 named, gameplay planned, and story outlined, but only our family knows exactly what we have in store. So this is really exciting, guys. Essentially what this says is that a trilogy is confirmed, but here's the thing. This first title, Quantum Error, it's got to crush, guys. I think that we as the community, we have got to really get this game out there from a content perspective, from, streaming it on Twitch, from all of those different things, talking about it on forums, whether we're talking Reddit, Discord. You guys can check out my Horror Gaming Universe Discord. That'll be a link in the description down below, guys. We're going to be one of the big discussions in there is about Quantum Error. And so I'm really excited about that, guys. Just getting a lot of talk about this title, guys, is going to be huge, especially when the title comes out. We get an official release date, things of that nature. I'm very excited about this title, guys, from a perspective of, obviously, this was a game that was going to be exclusive on PlayStation. I'm an Xbox person, obviously, guys. A lot of you already know this, but I'm excited that they're bringing it out on the PlayStation as well as on the Xbox consoles, the next-gen consoles, which is absolutely awesome as well. It's moved from Unreal Engine 4 to Unreal Engine 5. There's so much to be excited about here, but if anything, a lot of you out there who are hoping like, okay, is this just going to be kind of a one and done game? It's going to be just one game that they create in the series. No, guys, there are plans for at least a trilogy, which is huge. And we know that a lot of these horror titles, they try to come in threes, right? But I would say, I can't speak for Team Kill, but I'm sure that these guys would love to see this a very long withstanding franchise. They've got plans for 3 games, but let's just say it absolutely crushes numbers for them. We as a community really come together and just like echo more games into existence. This could become the very beginning of the next massive horror titles and franchises out there. It's up to us though, guys. We've got to be the ones that are really pushing this thing forward. And I'm really excited about this, guys, because obviously, when you start talking about this is a 4-person studio that's creating this, and I'm sure, guys, there's been opportunities for them to grow the team and such, but only their family knows what's in store. It's really exciting. And obviously, guys, who knows, between this game to the next one, obviously we want to focus solely on this first title. We want this first title of Quantum Error to really set the stage for what could be coming in the future. And hopefully Team Kill grows in a major way from this. Like I said, guys, it comes to us. We got to support this in a massive way. And then them over at Team Kill, they've got to support, the community as well, really giving us and being fully transparent, which I think they've been doing as in an incredible way up to this point in time. I'm excited about it, guys. A trilogy is confirmed. The question is, guys, is when can we get our hands on part 1 of this franchise? Super exciting stuff, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And for more Quantum Error content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. As production on Quantum Error is ramping up, guys, and we're obviously getting closer and closer to the finish line to this game releasing to the world, there are obviously some dev blogs from Team Kill Media. One of the most recent ones, and I want to obviously cover this in, the Quantum Cast as well, guys, as time goes, is news and things of that nature as it breaks. The final health system has been implemented into Quantum Error, so let's talk about it. So, guys, obviously, coming to us from Quantum Error and the folks over at Team Kill Media, as we progress through the QE in chronological order, getting cutscenes made and connected into the game systems, everything is really starting to come together and our excitement is starting to shoot through the roof. This has also been the time that we are testing how certain game mechanics work together with one another in real gameplay, and if there are tweaks that should be made, added, or taken away. One such mechanic that has gotten some tweaking is how health will work in Quantum Error. Originally, health was to be pickups you would find in the world, and as soon as you grab them, they refill your health with a set amount. Typical, more old school way of doing health, but also with a very small amount of regeneration. We had asked all our fans about health a while back and got tons of good concepts of what kind of health system they would prefer. So the system we had gone with was a good mix and has been good through all our testing. Before we even go any further, guys, I think it's awesome the transparency between Team Kill Media and the fan base. You know, they had asked their fans about the health system, guys, and wanted to get feedback. And that's what I'm getting at. Why I'm so excited about this title is that they want to hear our feedback about this title, and they're going to want to hear about it once the game releases to the world. Everyone, it's going to be a real, group effort to make this game a withstanding title and a long withstanding franchise. Then we had a new mechanic to the game. One I'm not going to disclose yet. We discovered a new way we could do health that better ties into other mechanics in the game and makes the game even more tense than before. Now, in Quantum Error, you will be carrying with you what we are currently calling an EMI, which is an emergency medical injector, a refillable stim pen that can be used at any time to refill your health as long as you have enough in reserve. Health pickups in the world will be collected and added to a reserve, just like ammo for weapons. And then depending upon how certain mechanics are performed in the game, there will be times where you have to use your reserve health for something other than yourself. This new system of health means that the better you do in the game's mechanics, the more health you will have to use. The worse you do, the worse off you are. We are currently working our butts off to reach a certain milestone by the end of March, and then we'll be putting together a new trailer for everyone. It's going to be awesome. Micah Jones. So, guys, obviously, they are working really hard over there, without question. And we can have real conversations, guys, whether it's in the comment section down below. You guys can go to the Discord, which is the Horror Gaming Universe. We're talking about Quantum Error in a major way, as well as some other titles. This is one, though, that is at one of the top games, guys, on my most anticipated list of the future when it comes to just games in general. You guys know I'm a massive horror fan, and I'm incredibly excited about this title. Creating content around this title is huge, guys. Streaming this game when it comes out is going to be massive. We have to do whatever it takes to make this game as massive as we possibly can, guys. There are 4 brothers on their end making this title. It's going to be up to us to really push this thing. They're giving us all the content and trying to deliver a massive, incredible story for us. And so it's going to be up to us on the flip side of that to really push this game to that next level, guys. And I'm really excited to do it with all of you out there that are checking out this content as we go here. It's going to be something really awesome. So with the final health system, guys, I'm excited about this. Kind of like an injectable, stim pen. I love this concept. I think it's going to be something that could really work out really great. Obviously, guys, the game currently is in progress at this point. They're pretty heavy into development. They're going to be putting a new trailer out for everyone. I think that with that new trailer, I think that there's a really good chance that we're going to get an official release date. And it's going to be interesting. Is it going to be this year, guys, in 2022, 2023? All I want is for Team Kill to take their time, make the best possible title, release it to the world, and, we'll just take it from there. That being said, though, guys, let me know what you guys think about this new final health system from Quantum Error. What do you guys think about it? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Quantum Error content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. In this last segment of the show, guys, I want to talk about everything that we want out of Quantum Error. And when I say we, guys, I'm going to be giving you guys my thoughts and opinions here. A lot of you out there may share similar opinions. Some of you may not, and I would love to hear the things that you want to see in Quantum Error in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So, guys, coming in at number 1 for me, when it comes to Quantum Error, one of the major things that I would really like to see moving forward is obviously we compare Quantum Error a lot to Dead Space and titles of that nature, like being a spiritual successor of Dead Space and such. But I really want there to be I want this to be a title that stands on its own. And I think from the gameplay that we've seen, all of those things are pointing us in a direction that this is going to be a different title from all these other horror games that we've ever seen before. And that's something I'm really, really excited about. I just want it to be something that all the ideas, all of those things are something that they are carefully, meticulously putting in place, that being the guys over at Team Kill Media. And it looks like they are absolutely doing that. For me, though, guys, number 2 is I want there to be a significant variety of weapons, a variety of enemies, a variety of different, concepts and things of that nature. Once again, something else that we're seeing, and it looks like it's definitely something that they're working on as well, right? It looks like they are definitely going to have a variety of different weapons, a variety of enemies and things of that nature. I think that one of the big things for me is customizable options, being able to customize your weapons or being able to customize your armor, gear, things of that nature. And it seems like we're going to be able to do this. We don't know for sure yet what all of that's going to encompass, but I do think that we'll have that option at some point or another to be able to customize our, our gear and things of that nature. They may just want to keep it very grounded, right? Very realistic. Like if this were to happen, in real life, they want to keep it kind of, grounded to that point, and I would be totally okay with that. But I'd like to maybe have some customizable features. I think would be awesome. Another thing for me, guys, that I would love to see is I want there to be a really underlying story here with obviously the main character in the story, with obviously some of the side characters, the, quantum research facility, learning about that, learning about the fire department, learning about their stories and such, and what that all, comes down to. I think that obviously, guys, if you start doing, flashbacks and things of that nature about before everything that happened at the Monad Quantum Research Facility, if you start doing some flashbacks, those can be good, but they can also be a bad thing just because obviously it can take you out of the story, right? And so I would love to see, obviously this story flow in a way where it doesn't take us out of the story necessarily and out of like that moment, because we want this to be, we want this to be the horror game of our time, right? We want it to be an absolutely unnerving experience, but we also want there to be a story here. And obviously, like I said, the guys over at Team Kill look like they have really carefully put this thing together. They're playing on a trilogy and things of that nature. So they have a plan of what they want to do here to make this obviously a long-withstanding franchise at this point in time. I just really want there to be where we learn about the past, but we're not taken out of the story necessarily. Another thing, guys, that I really would love to see at some point or another is I would love them to bring out some form of multiplayer moving forward, whether it comes in an update, whether it comes in the second game, some way that we can connect with the franchise outside of the single player story. Obviously, guys, there's going to be no multiplayer. That's been confirmed by the guys over at Team Kill. But I would love to see them have even just like a horde mode, like from Gears of War, where you go up against waves and waves of these enemies, whether it's by yourself, whether it's with some of your friends. And obviously, I think that could be a really terrifying experience, but I think it would be one that would bring you back to the story over and over again, being able to level up and things of that nature. Really, like I said, bringing you back to the story and the experience over and over again, I think is really important for the long withstanding, future of the franchise. Like I said, the main thing being bringing people back to the story over time. The next one for me, guys, they already are doing this. They're bringing it out on PlayStation. They're bringing it out on Xbox, which is absolutely awesome. I am so excited about it because I'm an Xbox person. So I've been playing primarily on the Xbox Series S, though that's the console I play most of my games. I've got the PlayStation 5, which I like that a lot as well. But I'm more so an Xbox person, so I'm really excited that they're bringing it out on all the next-gen consoles, which is awesome. And so question though is, are they going to bring it out on in other ways as well moving forward? Would they bring it out on the Switch? Would they bring it out on PC? Are those other areas that they're thinking about at this point in time, or are they primarily thinking like these next gen consoles primarily is going to be one that's going to be interesting? I think the more ways you can connect, the better. I think them making it not exclusive to PlayStation, it's been one of my biggest gripes with Gears of War, is that it's been exclusive to Xbox, and so not everybody can play it, which obviously keeps you kind of in a box. Only Xbox people can play it, which is going to keep your numbers down. It's all those things, right? From a pure player count, it's not going to be as much. And so I think that move to move it from exclusivity to PlayStation to all the consoles, I think is absolutely massive. That being said, guys, the biggest thing to me, guys, when we're talking about a cosmic FPS horror experience, I want this to be absolutely terrifying. And I think we're going to get a terrifying experience. I mean, I think this is one, guys, just from the different way, the movement of different enemies and things of that nature, it looks pretty unnerving to say the least. I want this to be one of the scariest games ever made. And I think that they are well on their way to making an incredible experience for all of us. You know, I think that's something that's going to be absolutely awesome. And it's going to be an unnerving experience, unlike any that we've experienced up to this point in time, guys, from the story to the gameplay, being able to do first person, but even looks like third person, you know, modes as well, which is going to be something really interesting. I'm excited about it, guys. I'm excited about this title as a whole. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. It seems that once... obviously, one of the biggest things that I want, once this game releases to the world, I think Quantum Air and the folks over at Team Kill are definitely going to be listening for our feedback. They're going to be wanting to hear what we think about everything as they can kind of update and things of that nature, the experience. And I'm excited, guys, about the community at large and what is being built here from the ground up. But with that being said, guys, what are some of the things that you would like to see out of Quantum Air? Obviously, we only have a sample size at this point from gameplay, trailers, things of that nature. But what are some of the things that you want to see at this point? We'll obviously have to continue updating this once the game comes out and once we're able to get our hands on it as to what we really want to see. Let me know, though, guys, in the comment section down below what you guys want to see out of Quantum Error. Let me know. And for more Quantum Error content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. And with that being said, everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the Quantum Cast. And if you guys did, all I ask is that you leave a thumbs up, guys. That helps out the YouTube channel in a massive way. If you guys want to and have real conversation about Quantum Air as well as other horror games that we're talking about, check out the private Discord group, guys. It is a link in the description down below for the horror gaming universe, where we are going to be talking about games like Gears of War, Quantum Air, and the Callisto Protocol, as well as other topics, guys. I would love to get you guys over there. We can have real conversation about it. If you guys did enjoy the video, guys, if you want to hit that subscribe button, helps out the YouTube channel, and it also gets you notified every single time we have a new video that goes up on the channel. Stay positive, guys. Just keep grinding. And as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.